What's going on, everybody? King of Dragons 5000 here, coming at you with another figure review. Today we'll be having a look at the AEW Unrivaled collection, Pentagon Jr. And so here we have Pentagon Jr. posed and out of the packaging. Before we take a look at the figure, let's actually run through his accessories really fast. Pentagon Jr. comes with 2 right hands. We do get a gripping right hand. Then we have a Seto pose hand, which looks really nice. Other than that, we don't get anything else. I think an exposed, ungloved hand would be a nice nod to his actual taunt. And then a pair of fists would always be nice. But unfortunately, he only gets the 2 right hands, which is unfortunate. So, with that out of the way, guys, let's actually move on to his details. So here we have a closer look at Pentagon Jr. And I know he isn't Pentagon Jr. anymore, but that's the way it's worded on the figure. That's how I'm going to be going about it. If you don't like it, there's really not much you can do. You can turn the video off. But anyway, having a look at Pentagon Jr. here, I really love the way they did his eyes. Those eyes are just mesmerizing. They look so terrifying, and I really do like that. One thing I do like is Pentagon's mask. They did a fantastic job with it. I really love the dragon right here. I wonder why I like the dragon so much. We'll never know. But really great job with the dragons right here. You can see it does look like they're breathing fire, and that does come out to the rest of his mask. So that's a really nice little detail. I am happy. And it's really clean for as small as it is. You would expect them to make more errors on it, but surprisingly, they got it almost 100%. I am really impressed by that. And then one thing I do like is his little tassel right here does come all the way down, so they did a really good job with that. And I like that the mask is segmented just like it is in real life. That's something that they didn't have to do, but it is a detail that I am happy that they included. And one thing I want to point out is that he does have his tongue out, which I'm really not a fan of when they have heads like this. If they do have a head like this, give us an alternate head, please, because then it really does limit posing options. So having a look at his attire, I really do like the way they went about it, but I feel like they could have done more. They could have added a glossy paint right here on the padding parts. That's the way he would normally have his attires, that we have a flat black and then a shiny glossy black. That's something I can do on my own time, but I think it would have looked nice if this was a really nice high gloss and then this was more of a matte. That would give it some contrasting textures, which would look absolutely beautiful in my honest opinion. We do have some more padding right here, which again, if it was up to me, I would have made this a more glossy black. But it still looks nice, and the paint does land on the sculpt for the most part. There are some areas where you would expect it to miss, and it's a little bit fuzzy in some places, but I have seen worse. Don't get me wrong, it could be better, but it could always be much worse. Keep that in mind. Really loving the detailing on his tattoos here. I can't make anything out. I can kind of sort of make out a skull right there. Is that a skull? I want to say that's a skull, but really do like his tattoos. You can see they did a very good job of making them look as you see them on TV. Really lovely details right here, going all the way here. And we do have a dragon right here. That I can obviously point out. For obvious reasons, I can always point out dragons on figures. But anyway, looking at this, it's done very nicely. Moving on to his little flap right here, they did add some paint to the front and to the back, although right here you can see it did miss a little bit, which isn't a big deal. I am perfectly okay with that. Then we go on to his legs, where we have some hexagons. Why aren't they pentagons? I don't know. Let's ask him whenever we get the chance, but those hexagons do look really nice. And one thing I do want to point out is that there is a difference between the molded white and the painted white plastic, which is pretty obvious when you have them under my studio lights. So do keep that in mind, that molded plastic is always going to look different from painted plastic. Moving on to his knee pads, we do have some dragons going onto his knee pads and continuing onto his kick pads. And I really love the design of his kick pads right here. It looks like quilted padding that we would see on like Mortal Kombat ninjas. That's probably why I like it so much. But it does look really nice, and those dragons really do stand out lovely. Going on to his shoes right here, you can see he does have white tipped shoes, and the kick pad does cover them. Actually, it looks like the kick pad. Is the back of his heel supposed to be white? I want to say that that's supposed to be white. If it's not, they did a good job. If it's supposed to be white, you missed some paint right there, Jazzware. But overall, really happy with the way Pentagon came out. He looks phenomenal. So what we're going to do now is get him compared to other figures you may have in your collection. So here we have Pentagon Jr. posed next to an Ultimate Edition's Brock Lesnar and a basic Jeff Hardy. Here we have Pentagon Jr. posed next to an Unrivaled Collection Chris Jericho and Jon Moxley. And finally, here we do have Pentagon Jr. posed next to the Unrivaled Collection Rey Fenix. So with the comparisons out of the way, guys, let's actually move on to his articulation. He does have a hinge in the neck, which is a little bit hindered by his mask here, unfortunately. You can still get that joint working, but it does take a little bit of an effort. Even though this is softer plastic, it still gets in the way of articulation. That ball joint does move up and down slightly, and as you would expect, no head tilt, but he can rotate his head nicely. Arms do go out to the side all the way past 90. He does swivel around at the shoulder. We do have a bicep swivel, double bend here at the elbow, giving us a better into the 90 degrees. I do like that. We do have a swivel and hinge here at the wrist. We do have a ball joint here at his torso, which does crunch forward to about there, crunches back, rotates really nicely, pivots side to side. We do have another ball joint down here at his waist. Combining the two, he can crunch forward to about there, can crunch back about that far, leans to the side, no problem. And it's creaking right there, so a little bit tight down here, so do be careful with that. And as you would expect, very limited rotation down at the waist. You're mainly going to be getting rotation up here at the chest. Legs go forward only to about that far. Again, you can push them out, but they go out to the side, and we don't like seeing that. You can actually rotate it so it does kind of fix itself, but it's still off to the side, and we all know it. Legs do go out to the side, no problem. We do have a thigh swivel up high, and it does rotate on that ball joint, so it gives a little more articulation than you would think, especially because you can rotate that and then pivot the leg out. We do have a double bend here at the knee, which is hindered by his knee pad. I kind of wish that they didn't include his knee pad, or if they did, just sculpt it. Just sculpt the knee pad on here, because that hinders so much articulation. You can see it doesn't want to get out of the way, and it's done so tightly that it doesn't go past 90 degrees, unfortunately. So if you're going to do something like this, just sculpt the knee pad on it. I would have preferred the knee pad to be a sculpted piece and complain about that than lack of articulation, because we can't get that to go past 90, unfortunately. Just like with Rey Fenix, I do have a problem with the swivel here. If anything, his is much worse. It's much lower. It cuts more of the sculpt. If you're going to give us a swivel, give us a swivel up here. Don't cut it somewhere in the middle, because yeah, that looks bad when you use it. He does have a hinge in the ankle, which does go back, and doesn't go that far forward, unfortunately. So mainly going to be getting back, very little forward, and of course, forward-facing pin for rock your ankle. So overall, Pentagon Jr. here has some pretty good articulation. Could be better, could be much worse, but we can always say it could be much worse. So with that out of the way, guys, let's actually move on to my final thoughts, and then we'll wrap up this review. And so here we have the Unrivaled Collection Pentagon Jr. pose for my final thoughts. And overall, I think Jazzware has done a really great job with this figure. Almost everything on this figure is a completely new sculpt, and that's something I really want to see. But one thing I really, really want to see them do in the future is more hands. I don't care if we get big slapping hands, fists, grip hands, style pose hands. Just give us more hands with the figures. Now, Pentagon Jr. here can come with an array of hands. We can have a bear hand, a Cero Mero hand, we can have a slapping hand, we can have fists. I think I said fist twice, grip hands, whatever you want to give this guy. I think it would work great for him, especially because chops and slaps are one of his main key offensive tools. That's a really big thing that I'm surprised they didn't go for. Now, if you are looking for a Pentagon Jr. here, if you find him at Walmart, he will run you $20. But unfortunately, distribution on these guys has been absolutely terrible. It's been a nightmare to find any AEW figures, and the only place I've been able to find them is on Ringside Collectibles for a markup. Now, a markup, how much you might say? We're looking at about $8 to $9 per figure, and that is a huge markup, especially because these are $20 figures and they're charging an upwards of $30 for these figures, which isn't that bad, but they don't come with as much as you would expect for $30. So that is one thing I'm not a fan of, is the price point and the fact that other companies are marking these up. I really want to get behind this line, but I need Jazzwares to distribute these much better. I really want to get hold of Series 3, 4, 5, and 6. But it's really hard, especially with the only place that they're available is selling them at a huge markup. Now, I really do like the way Pentagon Jr. came, and if you have Rey Fenix, I think he looks really great with him, especially when you have the Lucha Bros together. I think this is a really nice figure, and the amount of work that went into him is superb. I want to see more figures like this out of Jazzware. With that being said, guys, I'm King of Dragons 5000. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel. Go ahead and check out all my other action figure reviews as well as all my other AEW videos. Hopefully you find them informative. As always, if there's a figure you would like to see me review, let me know down in the comments, and if it's in my collection, I'll gladly have a look at it. While you're at it, check out my Instagram account for new and exciting action figure photos, and as always, ring that bell to be notified every time I upload a video. Until next time, guys, I'll see you later. Take care, everyone.